Okay, I'm going to call this meeting of the Lawndale City Council to order. Madam City Clerk.
Okay,
Roll
good.
call.
Good evening. Mayor Pro Tem Kearney,
Here.
Councilmember Cuevas,
Here.
Councilmember Suarez,
Present.
Councilmember Talavera,
Here.
Mayor Poland Miles.
Present.
All members are present.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Councilmember Frank Talavera to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a pastor.
Okay, right hand over your heart. Ready to begin.
I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor.
Standing. It's always a joy and a pleasure to be here, and happy Cinco de Mayo. What a day it is today, you know, and I know my wife has some tacos for me when I get home. So I want to share the word with you. It's a good word because I think about the city of Lawndale and what you guys are doing here. For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, the city of Lawndale, says the Lord. Thoughts of peace, not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. And that's what you guys are here for, to give this community a future and a hope. That is awesome. And you've been called to do that. Father, I lift up this council. I lift up my brother, Robert Miles, the mayor and pro tem mayor, Pat Kearney, and all the council members and those that are here tonight that are attending with whatever the issues are that they have, that they are trying to get help for. So, Father, we just pray for you to stand between and bring wisdom, understanding, knowledge, giving everybody an opportunity to share their heart. And, Lord, that the things that are of need will be met. Father, this is a great city called by your name, and I thank you that they always call for a pastor to come to open their meetings. Father, what a great opportunity this is just to love on people. And so many friends here, even tonight, Lord, as I met several. I just pray, Father, as we continue to lift up our Sheriff's Department, Captain Nicole, Father, that you will bless her and use her mightily. Lord, a woman who is after your heart, bringing peace and, Father, to this community and keeping the law fulfilled, and all those that are working for the fire department, the city workers, and all, Father, that you have blessed us with in this city. We just lift them up to you. It is your city, Father, and we pray that as you direct by your Spirit, that each of these council members and our mayors, Father, will just lead this community into a new year, and that this city will be blessed. We look forward to what you're going to do. Father, give them that wisdom they need and the understanding. And we thank you and we praise you in Jesus' mighty name. And everybody said,
Amen.
Amen. And happy Mother's Day for all you moms. And that's a message to you guys. If you have children and you got a wife, make sure you don't forget the flowers.
Okay.
Okay, Pastor, thank you for those words of inspiration. Let's hear from our Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, Captain Palomino, the Public Safety Report. Okay, yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, esteemed members of the City Council, and members of the community. I'm Nicole Palomino, the captain of South Los Angeles Station, and I will be presenting the Public Safety Report for April 21st through today, May 5th. And I will start by discussing our notable arrests and investigations. So to begin, on April 25th at approximately 2 a.m., Deputy Cardona checked the welfare of a male and female adult who were sleeping in a parked vehicle at Rosecrans Avenue and Inglewood Avenue. Deputy Cardona knocked on the window and woke the individuals up. During their conversation, the male admitted to having narcotics in the vehicle and subsequently handed Deputy Cardona a plastic baggie containing fentanyl. Deputy Cardona detained the individuals and conducted a search of the vehicle. He also located a 9mm caliber handgun inside a fanny pack next to the driver's seat. The male was arrested for being a convicted felon in possession of a loaded firearm and possession of a controlled substance while armed. He was not a resident of Lawndale. And then on April 28th, at approximately 12 a.m., Deputy Arbizo stopped a male adult who was riding an electric bicycle on the sidewalk at Marine Avenue and Inglewood Avenue, which is a violation of the Lawndale Municipal Code 1010-090. The male was on probation with search conditions, and he admitted to having a weapon in his possession. Deputy Arbizo searched his backpack and recovered a 9mm caliber ghost gun, which did not have a serial number and was not registered. The male was arrested for being a convicted felon in possession of a firearm. He also was not a resident of Lawndale. And then regarding our traffic-related incidents, Motorcycle Traffic Enforcement Deputy Morales issued approximately 24 citations during the reporting period for various vehicle code violations such as failure to stop at a stop sign, failure to stop at a red traffic light, and speeding. And then lastly, our next Neighborhood Watch meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, May 21st at 6 p.m. at the Harold Hoffman Community Center, located at 14700 Buren Avenue. Everyone from the community is invited and encouraged to attend. This is a fantastic opportunity for Lawndale residents to gather and discuss important public safety topics with local law enforcement and other community members. Hope to see you all there, and this concludes my report, and I would be happy to answer any questions the council might have.
Is there any questions? Councilwoman Cuevas.
My question is, when these arrests happen, are we still holding them for 24 hours or 3 hours and they go back on the streets, or are they being kept?
No, as of this time, they are being kept, obviously depending on what the violation is for.
Okay, so, but are we still having that law where you get caught and then let go because of the?
The cite and release,
Right,
no,
citing re-
that's being changed.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's skip down to D, presentations. Tonight we have a presentation that's going to be led by Mayor Pro Tem Kearney, the 56th Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week Proclamation.
Mine now?
Yeah.
We stand up if we get this. Okay, now and therefore, the City Council of the City of Lawndale does hereby recognize and proclaim May 4th through May 10th, 2025 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extends appreciation to Lawndale Municipal City Clerk Erica Harbison, Assistant City Clerk Yvette Hall, and Administrative Assistant to Vanessa Alvarez for their vital services they perform and the dedication to the community they represent. Proclaimed this 5th of May, 2025.
What a way to stand in. Congratulations, ladies. Okay. So now we have another presentation of retirement recognition of Roy Atani. He's the senior civil engineer from LA County Department of Works, and he works here in the city of Lawndale for a few years too. Just a few years, 21 years actually. Let me see. Okay, so he worked for LA County from February 1988 to April 2025, and he worked with the City of Lawndale through the Community Development Department, the Building and Safety Division from February 2004 to April 2025. In celebration of your retirement, on behalf of the Lawndale City Council, we present you with this city plaque, recognizing your commitment of Excellence in Public Service for over 37 years to the LA County Department of Public Works, including over 21 years of service directly with the City of Lawndale's Community Development Department in the Building Safety Division. Congratulations on your retirement, and we wish you best in health and happiness. Can you join us, Roy, at the podium?
You want to come down too?
Up here? Up here or down there? Down there. Down there.
Roy, we want to congratulate you on all your hard work and commitment, not only to the city of Lawndale, but for the whole LA County, but particularly for the city of Lawndale. For 21 years, you've been our go-to person, right? For all things public works. You're a civil service engineer, a senior civil service engineer, and we want to congratulate you on your retirement. Congratulations. You want to say a few words?
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Thank you, City Council members, City Manager. It has been a privilege and equally a pleasure serving the citizens of Lawndale. I know I'm going to miss it, as I miss my career with LA County. And as I told Mr. Moore, City Manager, I said, I'm always going to be around. I live in the South Bay, and it means a lot to receive this, and thank you all.
You're welcome. Congratulations. Congratulations.
I'm a low rider here.
Okay, we're moving our agenda. We're on oral communications. This is where you have the opportunity to speak to this body on items that are not on the agenda. If you would like to do so, we ask that you line up by the flag. When it becomes your turn, you just come to the podium. If you would start with your name first, we would very much appreciate it. Let's have our first speaker. Yes, sir.
Hi there, my name's Andrew Blackney. I'm here today as a representative of the South Bay Bicycle Coalition, and I'd like to read an excerpt from the letter that we sent to all of you regarding the Redondo Beach Boulevard Metro Active Transit Project. This letter was signed by constituents of Lawndale, Torrance, Redondo Beach, Gardena, and Manhattan Beach. This project will connect at least 11 parks, 8 elementary schools and middle schools, which enroll over 4,500 students, and critically El Camino College, which enrolls over 21,000 students and has about 1,500 staff members employed. About 21% of the El Camino students live in the Torrance, Lawndale, Redondo Beach area, and this would be a vital connection for them to areas such as the South Bay Galleria and the Redondo Beach Transit Center. And this route will also provide these students with access to education and provide families with critical access to parks. Currently, the portion within Lawndale is proposed to be Class 2 painted bike lanes. Our main concern is that Lawndale residents will be underserved by this design, as it lacks the safety and mobility benefits conferred by proper protected bike lanes. Protected bike lanes take on many forms, such as Class 4 barrier protected bike lanes, parking protected bike lanes, and two-way cycle tracks. These facilities provide the highest standard for all road users and the highest safety. These users include pedestrians, cyclists, and people in cars. High-quality bike lanes have been shown to boost economic growth of the commercial areas they serve. We here as residents of these cities would encourage Lawndale to maximize the benefit of this project for the businesses and residents here by approving Class 4 bike lanes where feasible and parking protected bike lanes everywhere else. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else want to speak to this body on under oral communications? You may do so at this time.
Dude, come on up here.
Oh, yeah. I saw him.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and council members, Mr. Miles, Pulimayos, Mayor Pulimayos. My name is Juan, and I'm coming here to push what I talked about last time about whatever closing 149th Street. I went to some of the neighbors' homes the other day, asking them if I could just sit on their lawn to see what the detail was about not turning into those streets. And they said, yeah, whenever you want, you can come sit down. However, I can tell you what's going on right now. It's like we can't get into our driveways because that thing's there. No one ever told us this thing was going to be put up. We don't know how to take it down. It's just really a bother. So I explained to them. I said, you guys should go down to the to the city on these days, and I gave them the day. I said, because you as residents of Lawndale pay your taxes, and if you guys don't like what's going on, you guys also have something you have in mind to say to them, and they can hear you out. They're not here. So I spoke to a lot of people on that block, and they were like very angry and dissatisfied. I asked them to come. Obviously, I guess you have to push that to them to come. Again, as citizens, they pay their taxes, and I explained that to them as well. Also, I had made a comment about the street on 147th Street. I actually had to help an old lady the other day because she wasn't going to make it halfway, so I had to run with my dog and just, stop the traffic and say, wait, because we don't ever know what the mentality of other people are. They're in a hurry, whatnot. But that light, it's too quick. It turns out immediately. Also, it's not on the agenda, but about the speed bumps, I don't know when it's going to be back on there. I didn't see it today. I was hoping to see something today. I don't know what's been going on. I've been thinking about what Mayor Pulimayos said the last time we were here. It's just to get something done, it would have to be, it's just a little difficult, but it can be done. Just as long as we get together as a community and as you leadership and everyone here, if we can all get together somehow, we can get that done somehow, Thank you, that's all I have to say, and I'll be right back with the card.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, we're going to close public comments and bring it up to diocese for any comments from the council. Let's hear from Councilmember Frank Talavera.
Okay, welcome everyone tonight. I'm happy that you're here with us. On the two gentlemen that spoke first with Andrew, I think taking into consideration what you said, I think consistency is what's called for. If there's a certain pattern within the other cities, we should follow that pattern so it all be uniform. I mean, I wouldn't like to see something like zigzagged through the different cities. It needs to be consistent. So I think we should take that into consideration for the information that you brought to us, and we should do that. For the street problem on 147th and 149th, also still, I think I've noticed that sometimes we'll discuss these things and then it just stays up in the air. So I'd like us to be able to do a better job of following up on things from month to month. Because the residents say something, and then it's not on the agenda anymore, and until somebody comes up and brings it up again. So I would like us to have a better system for following up on things that were said publicly here and things that they're asking for us, and what actions we're taking. If we took any action on the 149th Street or 147th, we should be. They should let us know. Someone needs to let us know. I wasn't aware if anything was done.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Lucho, can you elaborate on where we're at on the 147th West and East side, please? Thank you.
Sure, absolutely. Good evening. So as we left it at the last council meeting, I believe it was, Public Works is collecting proposals for the design, for the assessment, first of all, from Inglewood to Grayvillia for 147. At that time, when I have something that I can bring to council, I will bring it for award of contract, so somebody prepares that. And we also talked about the design of some solution for the east side. And I'm also collecting proposals, and at a later time, I will bring both to council and for award or direction and the like. That's where we are with that.
Okay.
Thank you. Councilwoman Suarez.
Thank you. Thank you to everybody that came out tonight and spoke and gave comments, and those in the audience as well. I really quickly, can we get an update on the Redondo Beach Boulevard Metro Active Transportation Project? Just a little briefing on what's going on there and what ours is going to look like. I'm just curious. And then I was in Orange County this past weekend, and I was able to see actually how the streets look when you put protected bike lanes, and there's parking by it that separates the bicyclists from going through. So I was able to actually see it, how that's working. I remember before it was converted. I have family over there, so I was going there, and I was able to see it after the fact, and it looked like something I think we could possibly do on some of the 147th Street. So I agree, it does need to come back. And I think what would be helpful is sometimes I know government can move a little slower, and so it's good to give updates of when to expect it. You know, whether it's a month out or 2 months out, that usually helps people gauge, okay, because a lot of people have busy schedules, so I agree. Letting them know so they can calendar it, make the time to come out. But with that, that's all I had. Pass it along, thanks.
Councilwoman Cuevas.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out and those that spoke. I have nothing to say. My colleagues already said it, so no need to repeat.
Okay, Mr. Pat Kearney.
And I have to concur with Councilwoman Cuevas. The two young people on the far left of me said everything needed to be said, so I'll pass it on to you there.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. So I did receive the letter from the South Bay Bike Coalition, and I want to thank Andrew for bringing it up again. And I do want to take interest in the section on page 2 where it says we urge the cities to similarly invest in enhanced mobility infrastructure with Class 1 and Class 5 bike lanes aligned with the South Bay Bicycle Master Plan in your general plan. I do agree with that line, and I also agree with the complete street concept as well that they're promoting. So hopefully we'll have something resolved pretty soon here, not only just for 147, but the entire city. Because I know when I ride my bike, and you go from one city to another city, there's no uniformity, you know. So sometimes you have to jump on the curb, some cities, right, and ride the bike on the curb, even though it's really against the municipal code in most cities to ride on the curb. But at the risk of getting ran over, you know, I usually jump on the curb when I ride my bicycle. So thanks for bringing that up, Andrew. Then the 149th Street, we'll take a look at that. The lights. The lights on 149th Street?
No, 149th, he's talking about the left turn if you're going southbound. There is no left turn on 149th.
There is no turn on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's what he's talking about.
I thought you said the light changes too.
The light is on 145th and Hawthorne.
Oh, okay, that light, okay. Let's take a look at that as well. Okay, that's all I have. So we move along. We're at item G, consent calendar. What is the pleasure of this body concerning the consent calendar?
All motion to approve?
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made by Cuevas, second by Bernadette Suarez. Is there any discussion on the motion? Will the council please vote?
For the consent calendar, the motion passes unanimously.
Okay, so item 9 is a public hearing, the introduction and first reading of ordinance number 1211-25, amending the city zoning map of properties in establishing the housing opportunity overlay zone within the areas of the city of Lawndale and the Hawthorne Boulevard specific plan. Let's have the staff report.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. Before the council is a introduction and first reading of an ordinance. The ordinance will do two things. One, rezone properties to establish a housing opportunity overlay zone throughout city areas of the city and within areas of the Hawthorne Boulevard specific plan. The second part would amend the Lawndale Municipal Code to establish the housing opportunity overlay zone. Because it's a introduction of an ordinance, it's a public hearing and it requires approval from the council. As background, the council on April 7th adopted an urgency ordinance to do the same action. It took effect immediately because there was some urgent reasons on why we needed to complete it. And subsequently on April 9th, 2025, the Planning Commission also reviewed the ordinance and made a recommendation that the council adopt this ordinance. So the Planning Commission voted 5-0, recommending the adoption of this ordinance. This ordinance is consistent with the city's general plan, and because it's consistent, it's exempt under 15183 of the CEQA guidelines. Staff recommends that the council conduct a public hearing. Number 2, determine that the project is exempt from CEQA. And number 3, read by title only, waive further readings, and approve the ordinance, amending the zoning map and the Lawndale Municipal Code. Staff is available to answer any questions.
Okay, is there any questions of the staff before we open up the public hearing? Okay, seeing none. It is 7:01. The public hearing is open. Are there any wishing to testify or provide comments in the public hearing? Seeing none, it is still 7:01, and the hearing is closed. Let's bring it up to the council for discussion. Anyone want to discuss this item? That was the staff report.
Yeah.
So what is the pleasure of this body concerning such? There's no discussion.
I'll motion to approve staff recommendation.
I'll second it.
Okay, so the motion's been made by Cuevas and seconded by Suarez. And your motion was for both items, determine that the ordinance is exempt?
Yes, and
Read by title?
read by title.
Okay. Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before the council is ordinance number 1211-25, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Lawndale, California, amending the zoning map to establish housing opportunity overlay zones for various properties within the city and Hawthorne Boulevard specific plan and Title 17 of the Lawndale Municipal Code to establish Chapter 17.54, housing opportunity overlay zones. Thank you, sir.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? Or did we do that? Would the council please vote?
For item number 9, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. Item 10 is the first amendment to the Michael Baker's International CDBG Consulting Services Agreement. Let's have the staff report.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. CDBG stands for Community Development Block Grant. It's a block grant given by the Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development and the Los Angeles County Development Authority. They administer the grant on behalf of the city. This grant is a team effort between Public Works and Community Development. Community Development oversees a portion of the grant, and then Public Works oversees the labor compliance part. So Michael Baker is our consultant for labor compliance and our administrative staff between the LACDA. And so this amendment is proposing to amend an existing contract, which values at about $56,000, to increase it by $5,000 to $61,000. The reason why this amendment is needed is because it's related to a 2022 Public Works project, and Michael Baker actually worked with LACDA to fix a couple of things, and this amendment is needed to correct some of the comments. So staff is available to answer any questions. The recommendation is that the City Council approve the first amendment to increase funding to the professional service agreement with Michael Baker. Staff is available to answer any questions.
Okay, are there any questions on this item? Okay, what is the pleasure of this body concerning such?
I'll make the motion that we approve.
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is this for a one-year extension, or are we?
No, so this is to amend the existing contract to increase it by $5,000. So there's no change in terms other than increasing the amount.
So the contract expires June 30th of this year?
No, I believe I have to check the existing contract, but it doesn't expire at the end of this year.
This is a current contract for MBI for fiscal year 2024-25, expires on June 30th, 2025.
Okay, correction, that brought back my memory. The next council meeting is when we would change the terms of the agreement. Just right now, we're working on it administratively to extend the contract.
So this $5,102.50 is for a little over a month?
Yes. It covers past expenditure in their work to work out a public works issue in 2022.
Okay.
Which got resolved.
Okay.
Okay. So the motion is made by Suarez. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Talavera has seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Will the council please vote?
For item number 10, the motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Let's get the city manager's report. Item J.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. No comments tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 11, update on the Lawndale Municipal Code Title 12 regarding e-bikes usage.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and distinguished members of the City Council. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you this evening. The staff report you have before you is an update on Lawndale Municipal Code Title 12, Chapter 12.64 regarding e-bike usage and enforcement. Mayor Pullen Miles had requested information about this at the April 7th City Council meeting, and the update you have before you is that staff report. As this council may recall, in 2019, e-bikes and motorized scooters first became a part of the public consciousness when a number of companies had a business plan to put motorized scooters on public spaces with the hope that they would be rented by users, and they were using public space for their storage. At that time, the City Council decided to adopt ordinance number 1157-19 to amend Lawndale Municipal Code to add new regulations to this, to motorized scooters and e-bikes. Happily, motorized scooters sort of fell out of business in popularity with the public, so that problem solved itself. However, there was a rise in e-bike usage. The difference with e-bikes, as opposed to motorized scooters, is they're typically not rented, they're individually owned. But there is a number of restrictions that we do have regarding their usage in the city. including regulations on speed, regulations on how old you can be to ride one, wearing helmets, and also e-bikes are not allowed on sidewalks, only on city streets. Regulation and enforcement continues to be done by LASD. However, staff is looking for direction from council if they would like to do further regulations regulating e-bikes, or if they're content with the existing regulations that we have now, or if there's another direction you would have us go. That concludes my report, and I can answer any questions you have.
Thank you for that report. Let's hear from Councilwoman Cuevas.
Is there any way that we could put together like an education training for these high schoolers and middle school kids to, educate of what they need to do? I know that I would like for the sheriff to respond, but I know we're not stopping them if they're not wearing helmets and they're under 16, because I've been seeing them drive around everywhere. Do we have to be proactive, or are we being reactive in this case? Because in this case, we need to be proactive, not reactive.
Of course. So as I was saying, LASD, all enforcement does come from the sheriff's department. City staff doesn't have any ability to detain or pull over people on e-bikes, so all enforcement has to come from the sheriff's department. We could put together some education program if the council wishes that. I would have to talk to the city attorney and the city manager, but anything the council wishes, I'm sure we could put together.
Okay, thank you.
Bernadette Suarez.
Thank you.
Councilwoman.
Thank you. So to go off of Councilmember Cuevas's question, the COG actually has been trying to implement a program with the schools. It's like a sticker program, so that students who use e-scooters or e-bikes have to go through some kind of training, then they can park their vehicle at the schools, and they've been very proactive about the educational part, so I definitely think you need to reach out to them, and if there is some coordination, reach out to the school districts to try to get that implemented.
Okay, we can do that right away.
Pat Kearney.
No, I'll take that off because Bernadette answered my question, my comment about reaching out to the school districts.
Frank.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Many years ago, when I was a young kid, we used to have to buy a bike license. So are the people nowadays that have an e-bike, do they have to register that bike at all, or?
So you see, I'm not aware of if e-bikes qualify, or if bikes are even registered anymore. That actually, they aren't done through the city. I don't know when you were a kid, council member. So when I was a kid, I don't think we did anything. But
that was a while ago, huh?
Yes.
So I don't know if they're still registered or not. I don't even know what agency did that.
Colleges do ask you to register your bikes, but that's colleges.
Sure. I don't know who were they registering with, though? The police department or?
They were municipal services was,
Right,
was registering them,
At
giving
City
you
Hall.
those stickers.
Those stickers.
Oh, okay. I can research that. I'm just not.
I went to,
And what happened if you don't register, if you fail to register your e-bike?
can I add to that? I'll just tell you why. The license were in case your bicycle got stolen.
Yep.
Then they could look up the license on it, but me being an ex-gangster, I just scrape off the little license as my bike.
Ex-gangster.
But that's the only reason we had the license. It wasn't nothing to do about safety. It was to register the bike in case it got stolen. Back in my day. Before
my day.
diapers were not even born yet.
Yeah.
I can research that and find out some information on that.
Yeah, I think it's under, well, it might be covered under the California Vehicle Code. I don't know if it speaks to that particular issue or not, but that might be where you might want to start. I do recall the high schools having a program that said that in order to park your bike on campus, you must have a sticker. Now, I don't know if that's been enforced or whatever. And then back in those days, it wasn't even popular. It was like really in its infancy. You didn't get this phenomenon where 20 kids were, was rolling out, right? So I don't know if they have since abolished it or what. But that was Lawndale High School. I don't know if that was, is Lusinger or Lloyd have a program or not, or if any other middle schools have a program. Let's hear from the public on this.
Hi there, Mayor. Hi there, council members. I'll provide you guys a little bit of insight on this. So yes, Council Member Kearney is correct that the majority of reason for licenses previously was to ensure that if your bike got stolen, it would be returned to you. And as the growth in trucks and basically easier ways to just go in, grab someone's bike, huck it into the back of your car and drive away, because we no longer have small cars that you could not fit a bike into if you wanted to. That has dropped off. And then conversely with that, the amount of students attending school or getting to school via bike has dropped off as vehicle weights have increased because parents are more afraid to let their kids ride their bikes to school. That's somewhat been reversed with e-bikes, which is, in my opinion, a good thing. But it's also somewhat of a difficulty because these e-bikes go faster. They tend to weigh more, so they're a little more dangerous. So that's why I'm very much in favor of what the school districts down over in more closer to the beach cities have done, which is to implement these programs where students that want to ride their bikes to school have to attend a class, and these classes can either be paid for by the students, or what happens typically is these cities provide days in which they will pay for the classes to be had, so that students that want to ride a bike to school but can't afford to take these classes, because they can be somewhat expensive. I think they're like a $50 class. Can do it for free. So I would encourage the city to do something like that. There's plenty of programs out there. I believe the one that majority of the school districts have gone with is e-bike sense, I think is what it's called. That's a really good program. The Southway Bicycle Coalition is looking at doing programs of this sort to get people to do it, to get people certified. So that's one thing to help students. And it doesn't just a class they attend and they do whatever. It's actually a class that they attend. They have to get their helmet fitted to their head, show them how to properly fit it, show them how to properly stop at a stop sign, properly make turns, all these basics of getting around. And the other important thing that it does is if staff members of the school see kids having a violation, like typically popping a wheelie, it allows them to, it's municipal code I'm not exactly sure on how it works, so don't quote me on that part, but the teachers can basically give a violation to the student, and they have a program with the police departments there that let the police departments hold them, and the parents have to go and physically get the bike, and at that point, the parents and the students have to attend class. So it's a thing of, you don't want to get your parents mad and make them have to attend class. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Michael, are we able to work with the sheriff department and see what their recommendation is as far as programs? Besides the COG,
Yeah, absolutely. I
the
can.
sheriff department, what are they recommending?
Yeah, I can meet with Lieutenant Osborne and Sergeant Smith and the captain and come up with some solutions.
Oh, he's back there, but he's not prepared, so I'm not going to call him up.
Can you reach him right now?
But if you could work with him and kind of put something together for us?
Of course. Do you want to?
Well, he's here. Why can't he? Maybe Lieutenant can speak on it.
Well, we don't know if he's prepared tonight, but let's have an official report.
Okay, I can meet with Ricky and the captain and get some information.
Okay. Are we done with this item? Anyone have anything to say? All right, let's move to the next item.
Don't we have to recommend a,
I think we just did. We gave staff directions on non-code changes to implement the e-bike. Would that suffice?
Mayor and council.
I would
Got a
go
direction.
option two.
Consensus, right?
You would go.
Consensus is fine from the city attorneys. We received our direction.
That's good.
It's good, huh?
Okay. Okay, let's move on to the next item on the agenda. And this is item 12. a discussion on establishing the annual festival for recognizing Hispanic Americans' contributions to the community and the creation of an ad hoc subcommittee. That's the staff report.
Mayor, Council, good evening. I'll be really brief, and then I'll let Councilmember Talavera finish up. So this item was requested by Councilmember Talavera to look at alternatives for, and I'll let him explain some of the, it's outlined in the staff report, to form an ad hoc and look at recognizing, the establishing a festival recognizing Hispanic American contributions to the community. And I'll turn it over to Councilmember Talavera.
Okay, I recommended this, or I'm asking for just so that our city can have more participation in festivals. I think as far as festivals are concerned and activities, we're probably a little on the light side. So I just wanted to bring this up to the council to consider having a Hispanic American Heritage Day and celebration, like a festival, like many cities do. Our demographics have changed over the years for the city. So according to one South Bay pamphlet that came out, we're at, I think, at 61%. I don't know if that's very accurate or not, but it's more than half then. So I just think we should do that. And my ideal is not just, we usually just think of it as a Mexican-American day, but we're Hispanics. There's 21 countries that speak Spanish. And we probably don't have all 21 countries here in Lawndale, but we have many. So, and we've seen our community grow, and so I just want to be able to recognize their effort. And I know someone sent us an email regarding the way other cities do it, and I'm not opposed to that either. But I would just say that even today we just approved a proclamation to honor the city clerk. Okay, well, how come we don't just dump them all into one group and say city employees? Because that's not the ideal of it. The ideal is to honor those groups individually, and I'm all in favor of African American Heritage Month also in February, and I'm all in favor of Asian Pacific Islander. Anything that we can do to bring our community together is a viable option. So I'm just presenting this so if you guys could help me and say, hey, yeah, that's a good idea.
Let's hear from the member of the public first. Yeah.
Good evening. The agenda item tonight requests a special recognition in October for Hispanic contributions to the city. While the idea of recognition is admirable, there's no reason it should be limited to Hispanic contributions only. This would be omitting the contributions of the many other ethnicities that reside in Lawndale: African Americans, Asians, Native Americans, to name a few. A more equitable approach would be to have a day celebration of all cultures, as many cities do. Only a few examples include the city of Lakewood with its Fest of All, a multicultural food and music festival that will be held on Saturday, October 12th. The city of Artesia will have its 12th annual International Street Fair and Diversity Festival on October 4th of this year. The city of Irvine will have its 24th Irvine Global Village Festival, offering a full day of food, art, music, and a celebration of Irvine's diverse community. The city of Oxnard will have its 28th Multicultural Festival on October 5th. The city's website invites you to join them for live music, performances, food, arts and crafts, and hands-on activities for the entire family as we come together to celebrate the diversity and many cultures of our community. Interestingly enough, the population of Oxnard is 77% Hispanic, and yet they chose a multicultural festival representing the whole community. If you are considering a special cultural event, since the mayor and council represents the entire community, an event of this nature should reflect every Lawndalian. Lastly, what will be the additional cost of another event on the city calendar? Will the cost reduce needed infrastructure repairs or road improvements? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Once again, Juan, council members, mayor, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. That's a great idea. I saw that on the agenda. That's beautiful. Also, what the gentleman just said, that's fantastic as well. I've been to a couple of celebrations out there in East LA. My favorite part is when we remember the falling Irishman. If any of you know your history, what happened during the Mexican-American War, the Irishmen said, you know, we're going to go with Mexicans. And that's a beautiful remembrance, and I love that part. Also because for some strange reason, my whole life I've always somewhat admired Ireland. I am a member of the Green Brigade, which is the Celtic FC soccer fan club out there, but I'm out here. So when they come and play, believe me, I got my green on. Anyway, that would be something fantastic. It would be beautiful. Of course, yeah, we want to celebrate everybody. In this case, yeah, I'd love to also have a powwow. Has anyone ever been to a powwow? It's amazing. We could have that as well. In the meantime, I believe that this is something really good to celebrate as well, because a lot of people want something like that, but don't have it in their city. Sometimes we have to travel out. Imagine having it here. And yes, of course, at the same time, we can remember some of the other ethnicities as well. Thank you so much for your time. Have a beautiful day. Ciao.
Thank you. Let's bring it back to diocese. Council member, are you finished with your remarks? Yeah. Okay, let's hear from Councilwoman Cuevas.
I am 100% Hispanic. I wasn't born here. And I know Hispanic contribute to Lawndale, but we have other countries that are contributing to Lawndale besides Central, South America, and up in Spain. So my thought is do a multicultural festival. That way we celebrate everyone. And if we want to recognize African Americans, then we do something in that month for that month as a recognition here in the council. But as far as a festival, multicultural, you're going to bring more of our residents out that will enjoy it, not just Hispanics, but you could have all types of residents out in our park for it. But multicultural, I'm more for that than just a Hispanic event.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pat Kearney.
I love the idea, and I will be volunteering to be on the ad hoc committee if you need one set up. I love Frank's idea, but I also love Shirley's idea about multicultural. So if we need a ad hoc, I'd like to volunteer for it.
Okay, very, very good. Bernadette Suarez.
Okay, thank you. I initially, just to be open to, Frank and I had spoken about this, and I had no problem with it being like Hispanic heritage. I know you, a lot of times too, it's you know, I think this was a pet project, and I think you can have different ones, and I agree with him that we don't have enough events. I think that you could do a lot of different events, and we could pick different backgrounds to celebrate. And so for me, I mean, I had no project. My main thing was the funding, and I was happy to even help with fundraising for it, if that's the case. And we even have some partners that would be interested as well in collaborating with the city to help put on some of this. So those are my thoughts.
Okay, my thoughts was that while I don't have a problem with Hispanic heritage contributions and having a festival solely for Hispanics, Americans, but I believe that having a multicultural event would be a better approach. Now, if we can afford to have two, then I would would suggest that we have two. But I don't know if our budget can sustain two events. So at this point, I'm leaning towards having a multicultural event where we can celebrate everyone, in the community. And of course, that would include the various Hispanic groups or what have you from different countries or what have you that has contributed to the makeup of Lawndale as well as non-Hispanic populations. That's what I had to say. Councilmember, you want to add something?
Yeah, I just want to add, and I understand that viewpoint, but almost every group has a designated month. Like this month of May is Asian Pacific Islander month, and I don't know what the demographics of that group in Lawndale is, but I know in Alondra Park, every year they have a big Hawaiian festival, Asian and Pacific Islander. And I don't know if that group belongs to Lawndale or who's hosting that, but it's a big festival. And like February is African American History Month. Okay, so, and I titled it National Hispanic Heritage Month because that's the national holiday, or that's the national designated month, September 15th to October 15th. Taking into account. Like again, it's not about throwing in Mexican music or banda or some regional mariachi. People think that it's mariachi and then they think it's Hispanic. It's not. So if there's 21 countries that speak Spanish, and that by itself is multicultural.
Yeah.
So. I don't want to see it, I wouldn't want to see it watered down by saying multicultural and then having the Latino flavor mixed in with the Hawaiian flavor mixed in with, in Spanish we call that a capirotada. Capirotada, okay? So, and that's like a bread pudding just made with all the ends of the bread and peanuts and everything all mixed in together, okay? So I'm just trying to be faithful to the name and the intention of the day that's recognized as National Hispanic Heritage Month. So that's what my purpose was. And another celebration that's becoming more and more popular is Juneteenth. That there's celebrations, I think. Supervisor Holly Mitchell's office is hosting a Juneteenth celebration festival, So, and as far as funding, I would ask that we reach out to our sponsors, to the vendors, and make sponsorship levels. I have a friend that works in LA City who's willing to help us out. I saw the flyer from Downey that they had theirs, and they had all the same vendors that they have work with our city too. So, I mean, I don't want to drain, or put a strain on our budget, but we got to, we can do this if we put the work into it. So, yeah, that's what I'm suggesting.
So did I just hear you, Councilman Talavera, volunteer to be on the ad hoc committee too?
Yes.
Okay, you got it.
Well, the ad hoc committee would be, if we're going to do, I guess we have to decide which festival, if any, we're going to do first before we form an ad hoc committee. So then the ad hoc committee will know what to focus on. I'm with you. I take your point when you say not water it down by having like Hawaiian and all kind of mixtures of stuff. Because that's the argument that I used to make. Coming from having worked for a concert promoter, to get the best crowd out, you want to have the same type of music, the same type of entertainment. Otherwise, you have like a hodgepodge of people that may come and go depending on who's playing or what have you, if they like the music, the genre of music, or the band in particular, or what have you. But if it's similar entertainment, I think you get a better turnout in these type of events. So I'm reminded of that point. So I don't have any problem with having with doing a Hispanic American music festival. Like I said, if we had the budget, I would like to do both, but I can roll with the Hispanic heritage contribution and give the ad hoc committee to focus on putting that together.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Then we'll reach out to sponsors and everything too at the same time,
Yeah.
so it doesn't drain our.
What is the pleasure of this body concerning the direction for the ad hoc committee if we choose to form one? Should we go with the Hispanic Heritage, Hispanic American Heritage Month Festival? Or
I have one question. As the city council, are we prepared to, if we have Asian American, want to put a festival together, to back them up on that? Or Juneteenth, do we want to have that too? I'm just seeing it, you know, the big picture.
well, yeah, that's
You know,
a good point.
This year we approved the Hispanic, but are we prepared to have community members come up and say, well, we want to do a Juneteenth, why are you not celebrating us? Or why aren't you not celebrating Asian American Day? So where do we stop?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I know that our community is a large Hispanic community, and they provide a lot of feedback to us, and you know, we're here because of them. But at the same time, we have to see the other ethnic groups. You know, Juneteenth, the Asian American. Pretty soon, we might have LGBTQ during Pride Week. So are we prepared to also cater to them?
Let's hear from council member.
Well, I just want to respond to that. It says, every event has to have their champion, okay? So I'm trying to champion this change, and I don't know if the city has any cultural events at this point. I know we have a music festival, but that's not cultural. I know we have a blues festival, but that's not cultural. So is the city hosting any cultural event?
That's why I'm saying you have a multicultural festival where you are inviting all the rest of the community to be part of the festival. You know, you could go down to Manhattan Beach. They have a multicultural event where they close the street. So we could do the same thing here, but we could make it big.
You got a rebuttal?
No,
I'm
I
talking
think,
I'm talking to Frank.
What's that?
Are you good? You good?
Well, no, I'm just saying we could do that, but also, like, this isn't to limit us in what we could do. It's just to bring us together, okay? And if the Asian and Asian Pacific Islander group came to us, then I would be on board with helping them too. I would be on board and helping any group that would want to do that and make this a festival for the city. Like I said, I think I've seen there's other cities that have more, and probably because they have a bigger budget or more resources, you know, and they use sponsors. So, I mean, if we're just going to limit to what we can see, you know, that's what's in front of our nose, then no, we're not going to do anything, you know. But like I said, it's only because of the designation of the group that from September 15th to October 15th, it's National Hispanic Heritage Month. Today, this month, in May, it's Asian and Asian Pacific Islander Month. February is noted as African American History Month. and, I think these are opportunities that we should look at, but we got to start somewhere. And it's not to exclude anybody, because we're not going to allow just Latinos at the festival. If you're not Latino, that doesn't mean stay home. No, come on. It's a celebration of everything that we've done, how we work together. That's what it's about.
Okay, let's hear from Bernadette Suarez.
Yeah, and sorry, and I think Shirley brought up a point, one that I didn't think of, but I'm wondering too, in the event that another group wants to come and there's no champion on the council that wants to push it forward, are there any legal ramifications? For example, I think during, was it COVID? I used to do a lot of DoorDash, and they had something where if you shopped at, I can't remember, I think it was African-American owned restaurants, they would give you some kind of deal. And then I think someone ended up suing because they were saying, well, what about the other, that's my question, is if we don't act on one, does that pose any type of issue for the city if we're not catering to everybody's request?
Very good question that I frankly haven't researched, because I do know that jurisdictions, some do multicultural events, some do specific events for various cultures. I would have to look at that. I would have to look at that to be sure.
Yeah, that's my only reservation. If it's something, my other question was, if we're not dedicating city funds, but say for instance, Frank's very passionate about it, he's able to find sponsors for it, and he's heading it, he's doing most of the work, or the members are without using city dollars, then at that point, does that qualify also? I would just like to know a little bit more about it before, I think, designating it.
Okay, it sounds like we need more information before we proceed.
That's my only concern, is that if someone does come with like a,
Yeah, because that's a good point, yeah. How soon you think you can have that information? Think you can have it by next meeting?
I can certainly have the legal taken care of in time to help work with staff on a staff report for next meeting, yes, sir.
Okay, without any objections, let's,
Continue?
tables when you pick it up at the same session. Let's continue this for a further meeting. Okay?
Mayor, Council, for the next scheduled meeting, we'll have this on the agenda with the legal determination and some options.
Okay, without any objections. Okay, the next one is item 13, discussion of recognition request.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I'll be really quick. This item was brought up by Councilmember Talavera. It was a request that the City Council revisit the recognition policy and be reviewed and updated. With the city unable to accommodate a recent request from a council member due to the request not aligning with current policy, Councilmember Talavera has requested the current policy be reviewed for potential updates and recommendations to be incorporated into the current policy. I can tell the council, since being city manager, it's been a challenge. Some of the policies are kind of older, and it's hard to fit in some of these things, some of the requests. So, and I'll turn it over to Councilmember Talavera.
Okay. So just as based on the experience, and I think I shared this at the last meeting, I was asking for a commendation or a scroll from our city regarding the pastor that started the first Spanish church here in Lawndale on 147, that little storefront there that was a cleaner's, okay? And so the pastor was turned 99 years old and has been in ministry for over 60 years, or approximately 60 years. So as his birthday came up, we wanted to celebrate it. I reached out to Holly Mitchell, and on her website, she has a little link to request a certificate. And their only situation that I met with, or the only not obstacle, but difference was that they only do one event. They only honor one event at a time. So I couldn't do it for his birthday and his ministry. So it had to be, I had to choose one. But basically, their request guidelines are provided as a courtesy issued by Los Angeles County Supervisor Holly Mitchell. So it's not through all, and it's not signed by all county supervisors. It's only her, okay? And in this case, like you guys don't have that connection because you didn't grow up in that church. I did. I actually helped build that church. You know, I was young, so I didn't do a lot, but, or at least carry burritos from the house to feed the workers. So, but I saw the transformation of when that building was bought and how we transformed it into a church. So it was important to me. Okay, so so then it says certificates are issued to recognize milestone occasions of exceptional significance. As I look through the policy that we have right now, which is over 25 years ago that has been reviewed and updated, one of the things was recognition for tiny tots. That used to be a program many, many years ago, and I looked it up, and I think there's only 6 locations in Los Angeles County that has a Tiny Tots program, which we don't even have a Tiny Tots program here. So, but it's still on the books. So I definitely thought it needed to be updated. And then I went to, since they moved here from Lawndale to Hawthorne, and I had actually thought we had service here more in Lawndale than in Hawthorne, but I was wrong. So they moved, I think, in 1996 to the new church in Hawthorne because the congregation grew, and they've been there ever since. And so I reached out. It was easy. I reached out to Councilwoman Angie English Reyes and told her what I needed. She said, "Sure, don't worry about it, Frank," and put me in contact with the person that does them at the city at Hawthorne, and prepared a scroll for me. And that certificate also was only signed by Angie Reyes. So, the policy here that we have seems like we all have to agree on something, on a recognition before we recognize them. And I just would like to see if we can change that, so that way, you know, you may have someone, but I mean, there's naturally, we're not gonna recognize, every family member that we have, or friend or personal friend. I mean, they have to have a contribution to the community. You know, they have to be. It has to be worthwhile. I mean, and then again, it says here that, and it says you may not request a certificate for yourself. The honoree must have significant contribution to LA County. This is Holly Mitchell's office, and she reserves the right to decline any certificate request. So, I mean, there's other guidelines, and it was, to me, it was really easy, and they came, and the Deputy of Community Engagement from Holly Mitchell's office, Ara Ann, came and presented her certificate, and I presented Hawthorne's certificate. So I just want us to be able to do that also, to recognize community members that have contributed a lot to our city, to our community.
Okay, thank you for that. Although I do agree with the concept, because I've ran into this a few times myself, and we had to do some creative stuff to get around the policy, so we wouldn't be in violation of the policy, I should say. Now, the supervisors are able to sign their certificates because they have districts. Now, I noticed that you mentioned Councilwoman Angie Reyes English signed a certificate, and they don't have districts. But I think it would be more fitting for the mayor and the city council as a whole to sign the certificates, rather than because it becomes political. Because you can come up with something, or she can come up with something that I don't necessarily agree with. But when certificates are given out, they're given out for the city, from the city, not from any individual, even though she signed it, or the councilwoman signed it herself without any signatures from the other council members, and then so did the supervisor. But to keep the harmony within the community, I think we all should, no matter who is requesting it, should sign it. That's my only issue with it. Go ahead.
I agree with Frank, because in the past 4 years, I've bothered Sean at least 4 or 5 times requesting a recognition for high school teams that have won a championship, some type of team championship.
Yeah.
And I was told I couldn't because we needed the entire council to agree on it. So if we're gonna keep it as the council, then I think if Frank requests it and gives us a good reason for receiving a certificate, we should all sign it. Or if I have a team at Lawndale High that won the CAF whatever, and I request it, I shouldn't be told, no, you can't, because it doesn't qualify our guidelines.
Yeah.
So we should, at least, it's not every day we're requesting a certificate. And for myself, it was for a couple of high school kids that recognizing them will make them be happy that they're part of, or make them feel that they're part of our community. So if we could look and word it a little bit different, as long as, we all could sign it, and we give you a reason why we want to give them out, that would be great.
You have something to say?
No, I mean, I think that if there's a policy for individual members and we can't make the time frame, I don't see an issue with it if there's, for example, significant contribution of school, just for the sake of getting it out, because we may all, is that considered a Brown Act violation though? Say for instance, a teacher comes and asks each of us to do a proclamation, we all do one, and we each sign say for instance, we each sign individually one.
And
If the policy is that if an individual council member requests one, that the 5 agree that you'll all sign, and you've agreed to that up front in a public meeting, then it wouldn't be a Brown Act violation. If the policy was more vague, like should it come to the council, or does one, if the policy is more vague and you take that kind of action behind closed doors, that might be a violation, actually. Yes, it could be. Probably not one that's going to be subject to much challenge, but there's a chance of a challenge. So I do think that your best bet is to either work out some changes to your current policy that would allow that circumstance, and not have it be something where you retain discretion behind closed doors, or have things come, perhaps as part of the consent calendar, a list of proclamations brought forth by council members in that 2-week period, and you just approve it in public, and then you can all go sign afterwards. But that's really how you want that to work is something for the 5 of you. I'm just giving examples. But thank you for raising that, because I do think that that's something that could wind up being problematic if you don't air it in public in some way first.
Mayor, Council, why don't staff can do some research, look at the surrounding cities,
Yeah.
like 5 or 6 of them, and then bring back a report and bring back a draft of a compilation of all those. Because it sounds like Hawthorne has something a little bit more looser, and we'll check Gardena, Redondo, Manhattan Beach, bring them to you, attach them, and then making some recommendations in our policy where you may want to reconsider updating. If that's the will of the council.
I'm good with that.
Is that okay? All right. All right.
It has a request of recognition in our policy already. And I don't understand why Shirley got turned down, because the mayor or city manager shall direct the city clerk's department to place requests on the agenda of the next city council meeting. It should be on the next city council meeting. So I don't know why we're getting turned down. That way, the whole city council would have known Shirley's request.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we're going to do that, we have to go to the personal accomplishments and add something, another line to it, because right here it says athletics are in here, which she said that 2 young men were at school. So, but we have nothing for their commitment to the city for 20 years, 30 or 40 or 50 years as a business, or an age in here. I don't see nothing about age in here. So we don't have an age limit. Is it 100 before we give a certificate? Is it 95 before we give a certificate? Is it 73 so I can get a certificate? I don't know how that's going. We have to add stuff to this. That's my concerns.
Mayor, council will definitely look into all of those comments and then bring something back that we think that you guys can look at and give us some feedback. We'll look at the surrounding cities. I think that's very helpful. We'll reach out to the South Bay COG because they have someone that can do that research really quick, bring it back to us, and then we'll try to incorporate some of the best practices of the surrounding cities, and then bring it back for your consideration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on to item 14, reports of attendance at meetings. Councilmember Talavera.
Okay, well, I just want to say happy Cinco de Mayo to everybody. And the purpose of these two issues were just to bring them to council and have us start a discussion and try to do something where we can help our recognize milestones of people that are in our community. I mean, having being here on 99 years on this earth, that's an accomplishment. I just hope that, and if you were to see him, the only problem that I know that he has is a loss of hearing. But other than that, he's a whippersnapper in his mind. He's good. He still works around the church, and I can only pray that I'm that well and that live that long. So, but happy Cinco de Mayo to everybody. On the 24th of April, I had lunch with the seniors, enjoyed my lunchtime. I met a new couple, and so we talk frequently now. And then on the 26th, I was looking forward to the Youth Day Parade, but it didn't happen. But I do want to thank Mr. Moore and Jason for having that diligence and keeping us safe and keeping the community safe. And I know it's something that we wanted to do. I wanted to do it, and it didn't happen. But hopefully next year we'll have good weather and we'll be in there. So I was looking forward to that, though. On the 27th, I participated at the celebration of Reverend George Covarubio's 99th birthday and almost 60 years of ministry. And our Ann, also from Holly Mitchell's office, came and presented the scroll for her. And so it was good, and it made him feel really, really appreciated. His family, who have lived in Lawndale since, I think, 1958, right here on Gravilla.
Yep.
Okay, and even during the service, they reminded me at one point when we were here how actually the city wanted to close us down, and so I sort of apologized. And I don't know exactly the reason was, but I know there was always contention with the House of Yahweh, and then also there was another little church called Gospel Lighthouse next door, which was an American church. So, and I don't know, I was like only 11 years old, I think. So I really wasn't into politics back then. So, but in the history that they gave at the ceremony and that service, it was good to hear. And then last week, I attended the SCAG meeting and learned a lot, participated as a voting delegate for our city, and came back with good, positive vibes. So I was appreciative for the opportunity to go. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Suarez.
The end of the month, I attended the South Bay City's Council of Government Board of Directors meeting. And then I did want to ask to take a look at our food truck policy. What our policy is, what other cities do. I'm just interested because I think it's become a really big thing. And from what I understand, I don't think we allow them. But if there's a tailored way, I think for example, some cities allow them to go to the parks during certain hours. Just curious to take a look at it because I think I think they've become really big, and I think we could do a tailored way of and they're, by the way, too, if you're not aware, they're heavily regulated, the legal ones at least. Just taking a look at that. I'll pass it along.
Cuevas.
I unfortunately didn't attend any meetings, but I would like to thank the resident that put a trash can at the corner of 147th and Fermona for all the residents that walk their dogs to throw their poop bags in there. He cleans it when it's full, and I don't know who it is. I just know it's a male because I see him cleaning it up. But I want to thank that resident for doing that. This way we don't find the little bags throughout our sidewalks, and we don't find the poop in our yards either. So thank to that resident for doing that. I also want to inform the residents that there's a position available in the Planning Commission. So if you would like to join the Planning Commission, come and fill out your application so that the mayor could review it. That will be all.
Mr. Pat Kearney.
Okay, I just have 3 items. Council member Schwartz and I attended we are on the ad hoc committee for the budget. We attended the meeting on the 23rd. We got some positive things done. Hopefully it comes back to the council soon. I attended the Co-op Senior Housing Volunteer Awards Luncheon on 5/1 at noon to 12 to 1 down at the Co-op on the corner of 153rd Place and Inglewood Avenue. This past Saturday, I attended the Water Replenishment District 15th Annual Groundwater Festival at 10 o'clock. It was a great event. It was sprinkling. I don't know how many council members went last year, but they gave umbrellas out on a sunny day. This year, they didn't give no umbrellas out, and it was raining over there. So just Mr. Flip-flop, it was great. And Frank, I know Mr. Covarubio. I went to school with a lot of his kids. And I want to wish all the mothers out there this Sunday, Happy Mother's Day. And that's my thunder.
Okay. Well, I was prepared to attend the Youth Day Parade.
I was there.
Till I got the call 5 o'clock in the morning. Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Good looking out. I did attend the City Selection Committee virtual meeting, as well as the Sanitation District meeting, and the South Bay Co-op Volunteer Recognition event. And that's all I have.
Oh, Mayor, one correction.
Okay.
I said Planning Commission, and unfortunately, it's not planning. It's Park, Recs, and Social Services.
I was just thinking, nobody told me there was a vacancy on the Planning Commission.
No, I just pulled it up. My bad.
But I knew about that one, though.
Yes.
Okay.
Get rid of this.
There you go.
Get rid of that.
Let me
We can give her that.
Okay. Let me see, let me get to my agenda. Where are we? Okay. Okay, items from council members. Oh, here it is on this page. Closed session. Closed session, okay. 14, we did that one, closed session. Okay. Number 15, conference with legal counsel. Let's hear from legal counsel to read the provisions. We'll go on to closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council will now move into closed session under Government Code Section 54956.9D1 to discuss existing litigation, the City of Lawndale versus LA Investment LLC. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, have returned from closed session. Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, the council was briefed on the item of existing litigation. No reportable action was taken tonight. This item will be back on the agenda in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, before we adjourn, I want to adjourn this meeting in honor of Ruthie Davis, the beloved mother of Diane Davis. She passed away last week. She served the Girl Scouts for over 52 years, mentoring young lives, including the famous annual Girl Scout cookie sales, where she always had a yard full of cases of cookies. Ruthie and her husband, Greg Davis, owned ABC Concrete Pumping for 34 years. She served the South Bay Workforce Investment Board on behalf of the city of Lawndale to help kids become great adults, and she also served on the city's Senior Citizen Advisory Committee. She ran the Lawndale Farmers Market for many years while serving the Lawndale Chamber of Commerce. Her legacy, which was great, was of life. Her great legacy was life of service, always before herself, serving others. On behalf of Lawndale City Council, we send our sympathies to her daughter and family members and friends that she loved so dearly as they grieve her passing. And so we will adjourn in Ruthie Davis's name. And the next meeting of the Lawndale City Council will be held on May 19, 2025, in these here chambers at 6:30. We are adjourned.